You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Thursday, 7th day of November, 2024. Sorry about the hitch in the giddy up at the beginning there, but as you all know, yesterday I was looking at a little tiny monitor across the room, and so my resolution got out of whack, and so what you just saw happen, live in real time, well, that's the truth about living. Things happen. Anyway, thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here or right now. It is Thursday. That means tonight is our members only workshop, 8 p.m. Eastern. You got to be a member to get in. So if you've been on the trial and you're ready to become a member and you want to be in that meeting tonight, send an email to support@cfrn.net, and in the subject line, just say, I'm ready to become a member. Valerie will shoot you out an email with some information and a link you can click to become a member. Then she'll send you more emails with more information and an invitation to the members only workshop tonight. This is our second live broadcast of the trading day. We do two every day, every trading day. The first broadcast, that's private, members only, and those taking the 1 week free trial. If you haven't taken the 1 week free trial, go to mytradingiq.com, and at the top of the page there's a link, 5-day free trial, no credit card required. Click that, fill out the registration form, hit submit. We'll get you indicators indicating today. Your trial will officially start tomorrow, which is Friday, but don't worry, it will run all the way through next Friday. We don't count the weekend against you. It's just a couple free days. It's really a 7-day free trial, I guess, or 8. There are markets that trade over the weekend, so you can get familiar with the indicators and your demo account. Okay, Now, when the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we take a 30-minute break and come back for this broadcast, the afternoon broadcast, which is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There's two different ways you can join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com. Scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click that link, fill out that 30-second registration form, and it will log you right into our platform. Now, going forward, what's going to happen? Every trading day, you'll get an email about 30 minutes or about an hour before the broadcast starts. In that email, there's a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it will automatically log you into our platform. Of course, there will be days you're out of the office, away from your desktop, but you still want to join live. And there will be days when you're busy, can't join live, but want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CFRN. You already know the YouTube part, so just remember CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day, or simulcast if you will, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently there's over 2,600 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. And if you're new to the world of CFRN, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more. You can literally see how we've evolved over the years. Of course, you're not going to watch them all, but you owe it to yourself to just take a look, jump around, pick some days at random. Obviously, the more recent broadcasts will be more relevant to what's happening in the markets right now and in the world. youtube.com/CFRN. So here's our schedule each and every day for the afternoon broadcast. We start out with our daily devotional, a word of prayer, some news, a recap of the alerts. Then about 12:50 or 50 minutes into the broadcast, Michael will join us, give us a recap of what happened in the live training room this morning. Then we'll do some live trading on the TradingView platform for 30 minutes. And then I'll wrap things up with our good word for the day. So let's get after it and get to our devotion. Now this is day 3 of 3 on this topic, confidence in Christ. Our scripture today is Galatians 1, verses 10 through 12, and I'll be sharing with you from the Message translation. Now keep in mind that this is Paul writing one of his famous letters. Do you think I speak this strongly in order to manipulate crowds or court favor with God or get popular applause? If my goal was popularity, I wouldn't bother being Christ's slave. Know this, I am most emphatic here. Friends, this great message I delivered to you is not mere human optimism. I didn't receive it through the traditions, and I wasn't taught in some school. I got it straight from God. Receive the message directly from Jesus Christ. Again, that was Galatians 1, verses 10 through 12. And so on our third day of this topic, we're going to talk about confidence in your calling. You're on a unique journey with God. And sometimes that means standing apart from the crowd. Your confidence in Him isn't arrogance. It's a reflection of your faith and trust in His plan. It's okay to stand firm in your faith, even if it means being misunderstood by others. Your commitment to God's calling sets you apart for His purpose, and that's something truly special. Reflect on how God has uniquely equipped you for His service. How can you use your gifts and confidence to bring glory to His name? Galatians 1:10 challenges us to examine our motives. Are we seeking the approval of others or of God? When we confidently walk in our calling, we may encounter resistance or judgment from those who don't understand our faith-driven decisions. However, our confidence isn't rooted in seeking validation from people, but in faithfully serving Christ. It's about embracing the unique way God has designed us and using our gifts and strengths to honor Him. Our confidence is a reflection of our trust in His sovereignty and faithfulness, knowing that He equips us for every task He calls us to. So as we end this devotion topic, confidence in Christ, I want to encourage you to keep shining. Your commitment to God's truth and your unique journey with Him make you a beacon of His love and His grace. Don't let anyone dim your light. Embrace your identity in Christ and continue to walk confidently in His approval. You are cherished and deeply loved by the Father. Stay blessed and continue to let God's light shine through you. Pray with me. Heavenly Father, we come before you with hearts full of gratitude, thankful that we are one nation under you, the only true and living God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Lord, help us seek your approval and serve not to please people, but to be faithful servants of Christ, as your word teaches us in Galatians. Let us remember that the gospel we hold comes not from man, but from your divine revelation. Strengthen our faith and guide us in your truth, that we may walk in your ways and honor you in all that we do. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, amen. Amen and happy Thursday. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. We'll start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Currently the Dow is up 42 points. The NASDAQ is up 260 points. That's almost 1.5%. S&P 500 is up 41. But the Russell 2000, our man in the street, is down 2. So I know 2's not a lot. But when it comes to the indices, as futures traders, we like to see them all the same color. We don't care if they're all red or all green. But when they're all the same color, we tend to get better follow-through on our trades. So the question now, Will the other three markets follow the Russell to the downside, or will the Russell flip and turn green? We'll know before this broadcast is over. In the commodity basket, crude oil up 27 cents, trading 71.96 last. Gold up $25.40, trading 27.0170 last. That's a gain of almost 1%. And silver, go silver, up 47 cents, trading 31.81 last. That's a gain of over 1.5%, or roughly $2,500 per contract traded. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei dropped 99 points. The Shanghai rose 86, and for the Shanghai, that's over 2.5%. The Hang Seng gained 414 points, which is also over 2%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE down 25. The DAX up 323 points. That's almost 2%. The CAC up 55. So we had a mixed day in Asia. It was a mixed day for the UK. And the Russell has given us a mixed Radio Thursday here in the US of A. So with that, we'll go to the news. President-elect Donald Trump on track to return to the White House with a decisive victory in the Electoral College and the popular vote. The first Republican to secure the popular vote since President George W. Bush in 2004. And Hurricane Rafael has made landfall in western Cuba yesterday as a Category 3 storm, with maximum sustained winds near 115 miles per hour. Rafael is the fifth major hurricane of the Atlantic season, which runs from June through November. The storm appeared to herald a nationwide blackout weeks after the country was hit by Hurricane Oscar and beset by days of power outages. In the hours leading up to Rafael's landfall, the storm rapidly intensified, gaining 55 miles per hour over 24 hours. Warnings of storm surges, flash flooding, and mudslides are in effect. Rafael is the strongest storm to impact the northwestern Caribbean this late in the Atlantic hurricane season since 2009. It is set to continue its path in the Gulf of Mexico today and could make landfall in central Louisiana later this week, or avoid a U.S. landfall altogether. Let's jump to the market news. Exit polls began to be released Tuesday night. It appeared to contain a nugget that augured well for Kamala Harris, but in the end it did not. Americans were asked who they trusted more to handle the economy. It was a win for Donald Trump. 51% picked him, and 47% picked Harris. But it was a much more narrow victory than would have been imaginable earlier this year, when the former president was trouncing President Joe Biden regularly on the issue. It seems to be a validation of a strategy for Harris in the final few days of the campaign to finally focus on the economy, which is called the top issue for voters, so much that it can be felt like a cliche. and of course touting her plans to bring down the prices of things like groceries and housing. The exit polls almost never get it right. I guess we should hold a moment of silence for Bidenomics. Oh wait, he's still president. Not so quick. In fact, he's trying to close off land in Alaska to prevent Trump from drilling there. I don't know what kind of legal wrangling Trump can do to prevent this, but if there's anything that he can do, you better believe he will. We got all this liquid gold beneath our feet. God gave it to us for a reason, right? Stocks extended their gains today as investors continued to digest Donald Trump's electoral victory. And we've got the Federal Reserve, or the FOMC, policy decision this afternoon. That's at 2 p.m. Eastern. Put your mouse down, okay? Now, already baked into the market is a quarter-point rate cut. Should Jerome fail to deliver, these markets will go nuts. Maybe he gives us another half point, but that's not what Wall Street is expecting. Spirits still appeared buoyant after Trump's presidential election win, which sent all three major stock gauges soaring to fresh record highs yesterday. His plan for corporate tax cuts and deregulation have fueled optimism for a boost to the economy that will feed into stocks. The Fed's interest rate decision later today could be the next catalyst to move the markets. Investors see a 25 basis point rate cut as pretty much a sure thing at the end of the policymakers' two-day meeting. The focus will be when the press conference happens at 2:30. First, Jerome will deliver his prepared statement, then he will take questions from the audience. And what investors will be looking for is what Jerome Powell might reveal about the future path of policy, especially as Trump's return could mean rates stay higher for longer. I don't think so. That part's just my opinion. What else we got here? Oh, hypocrisy. People, always hear people say, well, I don't go to churches, they're full of hypocrites. Well, there's hypocrites no matter where you go. Carbon pollution from private jets has soared in the past 5 years, with most of those small planes spewing more heat-trapping carbon dioxide in about 2 hours of flying than the average person does in about a year. About 250,000 of the super wealthy, worth a total of $31 trillion, last year emitted 17.2 million tons of carbon dioxide flying in private jets, according to Thursday's study in the Nature journal Communications, Earth, and Environment. That's about the same amount as the 67 million people who live in Tanzania. But yet it's these uber rich, starting with Al Gore, who fly around in their private jets, that continue to push this green energy deal. I mean, give me a break. And by give me a break, I mean give me a minute and I'll be right back. Don't go away. Sorry about that, guys. I'm back. All right. So yeah, the super wealthy with their private jets, flying to and fro. Oh, let's have dinner in Paris. Okay. But yet they push on us, the American people, who get up and go to work every day, this green agenda. And they're the worst culprits. Like I say, you don't have to go to church to find hypocrisy. I found this very interesting. Now, who doesn't want to drive a Bentley, right? I know some of us dream of Cadillacs or a Mercedes back in the day. But a Bentley, whoa. British luxury car maker Bentley said today it will launch its first electric car in 2026 and said it will keep selling plug-in hybrids until 2035, formally abandoning a previous goal of going fully electric by 2030. The Volkswagen unit said the first electric Bentley will be a luxury urban SUV. Think about that, a Bentley SUV. During a press event, the CEO said the long-range electric SUV would be more compact than a conventional Bentley, which could make it more suitable for city driving. Okie doke. And our last piece of news, the banking industry is expected to win big as former President Donald Trump returns to the White House, ushering in Republican regulators who are expected to ease capital rules and merger approvals, according to industry experts and analysts. The president-elect's picks are likely to further dilute the contentious Basel III endgame proposal aimed at requiring big lenders to hold more capital to safeguard against soured loans. While banks have already won major concessions on that proposal, which they say will crimp lending and hurt the economy, the latest draft would still increase capital requirements by around 9% for the largest lenders. Gene Ludwig, a top bank regulator, said the Basel endgame rule could be completely dead. The regulatory shift could bring some relief to investors after a year in which some bank stocks were weighed down by consumer concerns. Okay, let's get to the fun stuff. Uh-oh. my resolution issue, because I'm back on the big screen that died yesterday, and I had to use the other little screen. Yesterday afternoon, I was cleaning things out so I could make some changes and get ready for a new setup, and I reached behind the big screen, and I had been pushing this big button, which I assume was the power button. But then there was this little bitty button down in the corner. I go, I wonder what happens if I push this. Boom. On came the big screen. All right. Logic 247. That's our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. It's not just E-minis. It's also crude, gold, silver, bonds. We're in week 327. Over the last 327 weeks, we've issued over 18,300 individual handcrafted alerts. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less of those alerts being stopped out based on market structure and a very simple process that we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. Yesterday was a big day. That's when we crossed 18,300. a lot of alerts. Okay, this week, since the markets opened this past Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. Now, this recap was done by Valerie at 6:30 a.m. Eastern this morning. So some things have changed since then. I did put out a couple of additional alerts today, but at the time she did the recap, there were 63 alerts issued this week. 4 never triggered. Still waiting on the outcome of 16. That gave us 43 actionable alerts, of which 8 or 19% would have been stopped out, again based on market structure and that very simple process that we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. Now, each logic alert has an entry price, an initial target, additional targets, and a final trade to target. But the purpose of the alerts is not just so that you can trade them and not have to learn how to trade. I mean, I can't stop you from trading them, and I guess there's no reason not to, as long as you're using the alerts to learn how to read the chart. See, if you use the logic alerts properly, in no time, you'll be able to look at any chart of any market and instinctively know what the next high probability move is. You'll instinctively see where the next resistance is, where the next support is, and where the next window of opportunity is. So all I can say, use them as they're intended, and as a bonus, if you want, you can trade them as well. Now, long before we had Logic 247, 327 weeks ago, long before that we had our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts. Now they're different. The logic alerts come out around the clock. It could be 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. We have, well, futures trade around the clock, and we have traders around the globe. Their day session is our night session, and vice versa. But the CTAs, they're published shortly after the Globex Open. You know, I want to pop this open, but I'm afraid I won't be able to get back to the... You know what? Heck with it. We'll see what happens. Oh, it looks, oh, that's going to work. Okay. All right. Last night, the Thursday session began at 6 p.m. Eastern, 12 minutes after the open. All of our members and trial members had every one of these targets. 12 minutes after the open. The ES, the YM, the Russell, crude oil, the NQ, gold, silver, and bonds. Okay. Now, if you're a member or trial member, make sure you read this information and make sure you understand it. If you don't, ask me. I'm available via Telegram practically around the clock. So if you have a question, ask and get it answered. Okay? So as we go to the charts, just remember, all members and trial members had all these targets 12 minutes after the open. Okay. All right. Let's pop up that daily chart of the S&P. Now we're going to do today what I couldn't do yesterday because I had, it looked like E. coli crawling across my screen when I was using that other smaller monitor. But we put in a new all-time historic high yesterday and then again today. The previous all-time historic high was put in on October 17th. So today's high is 6,001. So we got to click this and we got to get this baby up to 6,001. Now notice that the bottom, it's not moving because of the way I did it. So we're at 6,050. And the high is 6,001. So we're just 2 ticks off. And that's close enough. It's pretty difficult on a daily chart to get it spot on. All right. So we got a new all-time historic high. We're approaching the 100% fib extension. I'm undecided. You see, the fib extensions, we've already broken the 62, and the 100's right over here. But that's based off this low, this high, and this low. That's what gave us those fib projections. Now I'm starting to think I could go from this low to this high to this low, and I just may do that live on the broadcast tomorrow, depending upon how we close today. I mean, if we closed right now, we'd be literally closing at the high of the day. So let's let one more day go by before we monkey with the extensions. But the fib retracements are done. You see, this low didn't change. That's why when you click it, you got to hover over one of those little boxes till it turns green. Because if you do it like that, it's going to drag the whole thing and mess it all up. You don't want to do that. And if anybody needs help with putting fibs on tonight in the members only workshop, that would certainly be a great time to ask and to allow me to show you. Okay. All right. Now, why are we looking at a daily chart? None of us trade a daily chart, right? Well, maybe we don't, but the institutional traders do. Oh, yes. Now, institutional traders, because of their account size, they're the ones who literally move price. We're just liquidity, but that's okay. We can still make money. But the institutional traders look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. Has everything to do with account size. But if you'll learn to spend 2 minutes with the daily chart of whatever it is you're about to trade on the smaller time frames, there's just a wealth of information. Number one, you're looking over the shoulder of the institutional traders who move price. Now, based on today's candle, you really want to be selling? I don't know. I guess you could if you want. If you just do what the deep pockets are doing, it makes it pretty simple to get your goal for the day. Now this green line, that's called the BBC. It stands for Bull Bear Cross. When price crosses below the green line, we expect lower prices. When price crosses above the green line, we expect higher prices. Notice that price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. We call it the BBC, Bull Bear Cross. The pullback holds more often than it doesn't. But we know eventually it will trade through, like it did here. And then it pulled back to the BBC, and guess what? The pullback held. Then a leg, then a retracement, the pullback held. Then we had a historic rally here. And then we finally got back on track over here. Leg, retracement, the pullback held. Leg, new all-time historic high, pullback held. Then we ran into red and falling. And that pushed us below the BBC. And look where that low came in. This low was 25 and a quarter. This low was 24 and a quarter. 1 point difference. When people tell you that support and resistance trading is like, old-fashioned horse and buggy stuff, show them that, okay? All right. Let's go to the 30-minute charts where the magic happens. The vertical line separates today, Thursday, which started last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. Here's Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. I have to scroll down to show you all that. But as you can see, when price drops to a zone, we expect support. When price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance. And then once it got through the zone and pulled back, where did it find support? At the zone. Now, this is just mind-blowing. We get the election, Trump wins, the market puts in new all-time historic highs by a lot. But where's the high of the day? At our highest weekly trading zone. When the market finds resistance, it's going to go look for support. Remember, the pullback holds more often than not. So then we got a leg that actually took us above the highest weekly trading zone. And then last night after the open, we pulled back to the zone. It held as support. So we got a leg and a retracement. The pullback held, the pullback held, and then we hit the long target. There was no reason to ever even think about the short target because we never dropped below this weekly zone. And hit it we did. On the Dow. I refreshed my chart earlier today just to make sure I hadn't lost my feed. I don't think I've ever seen the Dow that flat for that long a period of time. Not much I can say about it. It's flat. Russell. All right, yesterday we ran up, hit the highest weekly zone. We sliced. Now only 3 things happen at a weekly zone. 70% of the time it's consolidation, 20% of the time it's rejection, 10% of the time it's what we call the slice. That's when a 30-minute candle slices through the zone like it's not even there. When that happens and the slice runs out of steam, it will typically retrace back to the zone it sliced through and consolidate, as it does 70% of the time, and then continue in the direction of the slice. Here's a pullback to the BBC. The pullback held. This was the open last night. The pullback held, and we hit the long target to the tick. Now, price has gotten below the BBC, and we've got red and falling. But you see how the step line has already crossed here? I wouldn't be too quick to go long. Give this a little room to breathe. Okay. On the NQ. Again, this is Thursday, vertical line, Wednesday. Go back, Tuesday. See how the price, first we consolidated, and we got a leg, and we got a retracement. The zone held as support. Again, we get consolidation. Then we get a leg and a retracement, and a leg and a retracement. The pullback held, the pullback held. You get the idea. Now, I think the NQ may have put in the high of the session at 21,199. Why do I say that? Notice the step line on this run up. This is what I call the perfect stack. Price, step line, blue and climbing, BBC. Now you see how the step line, the black line, the blue line were running parallel? Once that step line crosses from the left side to the right side of blue and climbing, that typically indicates a retracement back to the BBC. Then it becomes a question of will it hold or not. We do know that when we break through a long target like this, as price pulls back, that long target can actually become support. Okay? So everybody had plenty of opportunity to get their goals for the day last night with the targets they had 12 minutes after the open. Crude oil. Okay, here was the open. Came down to the BBC, bounced, and this high right here is this high right here. See it? 72.32. What's this high? 72.29. Okay. Missed it by a couple pennies. Then price gets below the BBC, below the zone. It makes a beeline down to the short target and continues down to the zone. Now I got to remind you, these zones were published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published on Monday morning, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. So as you can see, yesterday on crude, price dropped to the zone, found support, bounced up to resistance. Resistance sent it back to support at the zone, back to resistance at the BBC, down to support at this zone. That kicked off a rally where we put in a double top. Wednesday and Tuesday, double top. Now here, we're not above or below the highest weekly zone. Price opened last night, came down to the BBC, pulled back, held, caught a bounce, then a retracement that did not hold. When you've got red and falling like this, as price gets below the BBC, you've probably got a change in direction on your hands. So we came down, we hit the short target, and then where'd the market find support? The zone is 70.65/70. All of our members, all of our trial members had that number Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. So when the market finds support, it's going to go look for resistance, which it found at the BBC. Resistance sends it to support at blue and climbing. And then blue and climbing takes us all the way up to the zone. We spike it, but close below it. Spike it, but close below it. That's consolidation. Then on a third attempt, we broke through, and we've almost made it. We're at 72.57. 65 is the long target. So we hit the short target. Now we're just a few pennies off of the long target. 58, like 7 pennies so far. Okay. Now you only need 10 pennies to get your goal for the day. So I mean, this one candle right here opened at 71.86 and ran up to 72.42. That's about $600 per contract traded. On gold, let's shrink this up a little bit. Okay. So as you see, price comes down to the zone, support, pushing it up to the zone, and the BBC resistance. This time, right here again, support holds at the zone. And then we begin the big move down. As stocks were rallying yesterday off the election, gold was cratering. But it stabilized right around this weekly zone, the lowest weekly zone. So we traded below the last night. This was the opening candle. So we ran down to the short target, spiked it. Then about 3 a.m., which is the European Open, we got legs, and off we go. Perfect stack. Price, step line, blue and climbing, BBC, and we hit the long target. Notice that the step line has already crossed blue and climbing. Blue and climbing is directly above price. When blue and climbing gets directly above price, the high's probably in for now. And when the step line crosses from the left side to the right side of blue and climbing, you should expect a retracement back to the BBC. Silver. Here's where we opened last night. You only need 2 pennies. So I mean, this candle here opened at 31.23 and put in a low at 31.11. A $600 per contract traded in that one candle right there. We didn't quite hit the zone. We hit the target, did we? The low was 30.96, so we missed it by 2 pennies. So support. Now this support came off this low from yesterday. Okay. Support is going to send us looking for resistance. We consolidate for hours at the BBC, and then bang, we hit the long target. And we just barely missed the zone. Okay. But now the step line is crossed. Blue and climbing is directly above price. So what do we expect to happen? For price to drop to the BBC. Then it becomes a matter of whether it holds or not. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible for price to overcome blue and climbing. It can. You have to embrace all possibilities. But you also learn what the next high probability thing is, because the market repeats itself again and again and again and again. So maybe we'll check back on this by the end of the broadcast, because it's time for Michael. Michael, are you here? Oh, Michael. He's not here, man. High of the day, now 60.02. Alright, I'll go ahead and do this part. I normally save this for the end. If you want to become a member, first go to mytradingiq.com, watch some of the videos, read about the stuff we offer. But when you're ready to become a member, just send an email to support@cfrn.net. In the subject line, put "I'm ready to become a member." Send it. Valerie will respond with some information and a link so that you can become a member. When you become a member, you'll have access to 2 hours of live training every trading day. 9 out of 10 new traders don't have that. Not only do you get 2 hours of interactive group training every trading day, you also have access to private one-on-one mentoring, no extra charge. The strategy you learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder, are fluid across all markets and all time frames. Futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETF, it doesn't matter. Why? Because price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. That's why I try to impress upon you the importance of using the Logic 247 alerts to learn how to read the chart. How to know where to expect resistance, where to expect support, and how to find windows of opportunity. The good news is when you become a passport holder, you'll get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock. You'll also get the concierge trade alerts the second they're published every evening. Every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you'll get the weekly trading zones. And again, once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. December 14th of 2009 was the first week we ever published the weekly trading zones. This December marks 15 years. Now, if you've been around trading for a while, you know that very few things last 15 years. Some stuff doesn't last overnight, it seems. So, by the grace of God, we got a formula. What does CTA stand for on the long short targets? Concierge trade alert. Great question, Graham. Thanks for asking. Yeah, just stands for concierge trade alerts. In fact, if you look here where I showed you before, all these targets went out last night, 12 minutes after the open. It says right at the top. So I'm thinking you don't have access to this, or you don't know how to get to it. If that be the case, let us know, so that, I mean, you just saw this is some pretty valuable information to have. Okay, it can make your life very simple. So I'm glad you do. Oh, you do have access. Okay, yeah, just stands for concierge trade alerts. Concierge is in when you stay at a fancy hotel. You know how they provide you. They've got a guy. He's the concierge, and he'll take care of your needs. Same here, but within the scope of the law. Ha ha. Okay. How do you use the alerts? Okay, well, since Michael's not here yet, let me show you. So 12 minutes after the open last night, which was right here, we knew the target was 59.91. So you could have chosen any point. See, we stayed above the BBC. Like, you got this pullback to the BBC and it held. You could have just gone long down here around 59.61, and that would have given you over 30 points. But come to the workshop tonight, and I will go into some greater detail for you.
Yes.
But we never had any reason to worry about the short target because price never got below the BBC, or more important, this zone right here. Okay, Michael is here.
Finally.
So we were just killing time. We were just kicking the can down the road till you got here.
Okay.
But you can take it away.
There were some questions in there. That was good. So,
Yep.
Here we go. Here we go. See everything okay?
Well, you know, I'm having, because of what I had to do yesterday, my resolutions are all messed up. So now that I've blown up the box, yeah, it looks absolutely perfect.
Okay. All right. Then I'll jump into it.
Okay.
Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Thursday, the 7th day of November, 2024. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingaq.com, click on the purple button right here. There is no credit card required for the trial. When you click on that purple button, you will be brought to this registration page where all that we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number. Down here at the bottom, we give you the opportunity to give us your machine ID if you have an NinjaTrader, or to give us your login ID if you have TradingView. Please do one or both of those things. TradingView particularly, because that's where we have the main set of indicators. All right, click on the register button. Once you hit register, you will be sent everything you need to get into the room in the morning. And if you fill that out properly, we'll get your indicators indicating for you as well. That is where you want to be at the beginning of your trial. Okay. All right. So the spreadsheet, we had kind of a slow day today. We had 15 trades, but for some reason it seemed like it was kind of slow for me. Actually, the NQ has been off so far this month. We've had some pretty low days this month on the NQ. Normally we have, most days are over $100. 100 ticks. Some of them way more than 100. But so far it's been kind of steady and slow, which is all right. If you're gonna read the spreadsheet, you have to read all the CFTC risk disclosures at the bottom. I have to say that every time I show this. Today is the 7th day of November, 2024. We made 60 ticks on the NQ. We lost 15 on the Russell. We made 3 on the ES. That put us at 262.5 on the morning session. Today, it took 2 minutes and 1 trade to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $1,320. So we took a total of 15 trades this morning. So that puts us on the month at $1,805 over 5 business days, averaging $361 per contract per morning session on the month. Okay, we've now gone. Sorry, I just read Graham's his last thing. But yeah, that's part of the whole package, Graham. All the stuff that you just went over with Dwayne, and we'll go into a lot more detail tonight, I imagine. That's usually the way that the partners meetings they work out. If people email in questions and stuff like that, we get to them first. But typically, Dwayne will open it up, and he will start off going over the larger time frame stuff, and then I'll pick up when he's done, and I'll go through all the questions that people have for me until there are no more questions, and then we wrap it up. Okay, just so you know. So far on the year, we've got our goal every single day. 209 out of 209 business days that we traded. And I think we traded every business day so far this year. I don't think I took it. I might have taken 1 day off, maybe this year. I don't know though. I don't think I did. Unless I had to, I don't think I did. But we've gone 370 business days since our last red day. And on the year now, we're at $102,175 over 209 business days, averaging $488 per contract per 2-hour business day. Now, if you were to follow the 2420 blueprint, start with 1 contract and add 1 per month, basically, you have to earn $2,000 per contract to add another contract. So it works out to 1 per month if you consistently make $100 per day. If you do that and you quit trading so far this year, like I was doing, you only had to work 61.68 hours so far this year, and you would have averaged $2,865 per hour. That is what we needed. All right. And that's not what we needed. That's what we did. I'm sorry. I just read the word needed. That's what we did on the year so far. $2,865 per hour averaging. Quitting when you get the goal for the day, following the 2420 blueprint. So let's get into the actual trades. Now on the YM today, we had 1 break-even trade, it looks like, right there. 1 break-even trade. And that was all that we had today on the YM. And this is a 31 range YM. If we put it back down here to a 19 range, it'll probably be pointing at a place that was actually a trade right there. 1 break-even trade. Right, that was all that we did on the YM today. Now, during the break, it looks like there may have been 1 trade right here that would have been another break-even trade, and there's another one setting up right now that, well, who knows? Who knows what it did? All right, but that was YM. The Russell today, let's see. Now, we killed it with the Russell yesterday. We're up 80 ticks yesterday. Today, not so much. We stopped out on this first one, minus 25, and then we got 5 back there. Then at the very end of the session, we got 5 more right here. So we ended up with minus 15 overall on the Russell. Minus 15 overall on the Russell. And during the break, we have FOMC coming up here in less than an hour. So the markets are going to be really quiet. So we had nothing really here during the break. Well, we had 1 trade here that didn't go anywhere during the break. And that's it so far. Let's look at the ES. Now, on the ES today, let's see. On the ES, we had a break even there, a break even there. Then over here, we finally got some traction on the ES. We had 1 tick right there. Not a lot of traction. Then we had, we're missing a trade here somewhere. We had 1 tick somewhere else in here. Got 1 tick, probably right in here. Got 1 tick. Then we got 8 ticks to get us to 9. Then we got 4 ticks to get us to 13. And then we stopped out. And that put us to 3. Now, it's been a consistent move up here. Consistently moving up. And it still is. It's dragging out a little longer now. You see the moves up are stretching out. before it gets to the prior swing high. It's stretching out right now. But it's consistently moving up. I don't know what it's going to do now as we get into the FOMC, but we ended with just plus 3 ticks on that one. Now the NQ, we did not have a full 48 tick period all morning session on the NQ. And so that means we had little trades. In here, we got our goal for the day on the first one. Got 24 ticks on that one. Then this one, we got 24 more ticks getting us to 48. Then we got 4 ticks to get us to 52. Then a break even, then 4 more ticks to get us to 56. Then 4 more ticks to get us to 60. And that is where we ended it. I was looking this morning for it to do this leg length right here. It did not finish that leg length yet, but that's what I was looking for this morning. You know, when I was saying this morning that I think going on here is just a pullback and bigger uptrend, and it's going to consolidate sideways and then make a move up, and it should be far. Now it did not that far. So if it's kind of junky in here the way it came together, but look at the way it came together right here. Okay, and if you take this leg length, we'll bring this down here and it's matched up down here. See, it was a little bit bigger. This one right here was your, well, I guess the first one was where you had the momentum, and then it lost some of this, and then it gained a little bit of momentum back on this one where it got just a little bit higher, and then it lost a little momentum here. Okay, so now it's going sideways until FOMC comes out, and who knows what's going to happen when FOMC comes out. You know, I'm not even going to look at it when that happens. I'll be very busy with stuff when that's happening. But right now, what we have going on is, well, nothing. It's going to get up to the prior swing high. We don't have any in here. During the break, there was no trades here during the break. Really nothing here during the break. One right here. That didn't put in a higher swing. It'd be a break-even trade. And that was it on the NQ. So there was really not a lot of opportunity. And I don't see that there's going to be a lot of opportunity until after the Fed comes out. But we're going to sit in here and try to find some opportunity. We're not going to create opportunity. We're just going to see if there's anything anywhere else that might be moving. You know, one thing you can do to see is go over here and click on this and sort it to see what's actually moving over here. Okay, so this is CC1 Cocoa futures. Cocoa is moving. Solana, US dollar, Coinbase, that's moving. Coffee, it's moving. Intel, moving. Snap-on, Meta, Tesla, AMD, sweet. Those are all moving, and that's going in that direction. What's moving the other way? The VIX is moving the other way. JP Morgan is getting smashed. Schwab is getting hit. Natural gas inventories came out at 11:30, 10:30 today. Natural gas inventories came out, so they're getting hit pretty good too. The SARC, 2x short, daily ETF, that's getting hit. Palantir. Now we can go look at any one of these with what we have going on and apply everything that we normally do to any one of these things. Now Palantir's $54. So if we go here and we just look at this, and you know, $54, this is a 19 range. You probably want to do something more even, like a 50 range. Right, maybe a 50 or a 25. We'll go 25 and see what that looks like. Every bar is 25 cents. And using the same stuff that we would always use with this actual stock, you would have had a short right here at 54.11. It dropped almost $1, and then it came back. And I would still be feeling it's going to go down, but if you go back here to earlier in the day, today, there was a long right here at the open. There was a long trade right here at the open from 55.74, and that ran up to 56.47. So it ran up 50 cents roughly. And then you had just about $1 down right here. Those are the two opportunities with this today, and the movement that it had. Now, if we look at some of these other ones, like JP Morgan, that's a little bit higher priced. So you can look at that on a little bit bigger time frame. You don't want to do that like 50 cents a bar. Okay, I'm doing this because we don't have any trade coming up with the futures, by the way. So if you look at this using the same logic, the same everything that we always use, look at that nice. Those are really nice leg lengths right there. This one didn't put in a lower swing, you see that, but every one of these had a nice lower swing, decent pullbacks. Some good movement today with this. And your first shorting opportunity came up right here for JP Morgan at 242.60, and it's still going down from 242.60. It went all the way down to here, and then it pulled back up. So from 242, it gave you a couple of bucks, $2.50 right there. Pulled back, gave you a second look right here from 241.12, and that ran down here to 238.33. Now, I'm telling you else. No, this is right now. Yeah. Yeah, they did rally early on, I think, didn't they? Yeah, see, they all came off highs today. So this is probably just a retracement. A bigger move. Yeah, I see all this rally from here where Trump, they all gapped up right here. Yeah, huge gaps. So those gaps got to get filled at some point. I mean, that's 221 all the way up to 235. It's a 15-point gap, a 5% gap right there. It's almost 10% gap. That's significant, and it's got to fill that at some point. So it does surprise me to see him giving back some right here, people taking profits. But one way that we can take profits, if you wanted to, using the technology that we have, the stuff that you have at your fingertips, we'll go here and let's see if I have something for this. I don't, but let's do this. We'll do Yahoo Finance. Spelled it completely wrong, but it figured it. It figured it out. It did. So this is what POTR. Right? And let's go to options. And I don't want to trade the options. I want to go to markets. I think if I do it through here, well, okay, we can do it through here. We'll go to November 8th strike prices. So if you're doing, let's say, 1 DTE, right, expire tomorrow, and in here where you have the opportunity here where everything got bearish in here, I bet the shorts right here we just started going down. The puts probably got kind of expensive here, but 243 was well, the low of this bar right here was 242.63 when you got the down close and it came out of the overbought. This right here is where you expect it to go, right? 242s, and that was at 934. So look at 242s at 934. Oops, hang on. Am I looking at the right thing? Hang on. Oh, it was JP Morgan. I'm looking at the wrong one. JPM. Okay, so now we'll look at, we'll go to options again, and we'll look at puts, and we'll look at tomorrow's puts, and I wanted to look at 242s for tomorrow. So let's see, strike prices, all strike prices. Why is it not listing anything that's, oh, am I saying all strike prices? Let's look at the 242.50s. Okay. And loading the chart for that. So at 9 something this morning, they were 9:36. What time was that? It was like right about here this morning. They were priced right here at $3.47 at 9:41, right? That's right in here, 9:31, 9:41. They were priced, so even after you gave that, or after this one right here, okay, so it was 9:34. So right in here. Even after that, if you go here and look, they were priced here, we'll say 9:42, they were priced at $4.30 at the high at 9:44. But if you go to just a couple minutes before, it's $3.80 at 9:41, and 9:33, we'll go to right there. There was one in there. 9:35, they're $3.33. $3.33, and they went from $3.33 all the way up to, why is it not listing it for us?
100% gain, basically.
Yeah, $3.33 up to $6.85 is what the high was today. So if you do the math on that, 6.85 minus 3.33 equals that, divided by 3.33 equals that, 105%. 105% gain, and that was from, well, from there to there, whatever time that is, 11:37, so 2 hours, 105%. And that's just using what we always do. You know, there's nothing super secret about this. It's using the TV trades range trigger with everything that we always use up here. You see, and that was, you know, it happens every day. Whenever you get, you can come in here and see anything that's moved pretty big like this. I mean, you can look at the VIX, right? The VIX, and this is on a 50 range VIX. The VIX had a big gap down. But we're looking here at 950. We'll see right here, the VIX at 950, 1635 was the high. And you would have been looking for the swing low down here at 1543. So if we come back in here and we do VIX, and we'll do options on the VIX, and we'll do, I don't know what they have for expiration dates on the VIX. Okay, so the 13th is all they have. And we'll look for puts on that because we're expecting them to go down. And what did we say the number was? The swing low was down here at 1540. And so this morning when we got the down close right here at 950, we were expecting to get down to 1543. So
I think we're not seeing what you're seeing.
Oh yeah, my chart stopped moving again. I don't know why it does that. Okay, so here we go again. Here we go again. Now, I don't know how long ago did that stop when I was looking at the charts and stuff.
Just a couple minutes, I think.
Okay. Well, anyway, we'll be looking at the puts, and we're looking at the 15. What were we looking at? We just look at the 15s, I guess. And so this morning, right in here at 954, it's not going to be a price. Hang on, there was just one right there. Well, anyway, you can see the price was down here at 23 cents. And what we were looking at was this right here. All right, this morning at 10:14, or actually 9:50 is when it got the down close, came out of the overbought. You're looking at the swing low right here at 1540. So you could have been looking at the 15s for the strike price, right? Yeah, the 15s for the strike price. And the difference in the strike price at that point was from right down here, that's it, 950, right about there, 22 cents up to the high of the day was all the way up here, but when it went from 22 cents up to 29, that's 30% gain, but 22 cents up to 32 cents right there. That's 10 cents, that's a 50% gain that it had today so far. And that's, you know, anything that's moving around, anytime the markets are moving, you can come and find something like this and just use our stuff the way you always would, looking, the target being the prior high or the prior low. You know, and you actually, I think I actually, did I create that for you? I don't know if I added that to everything, but the prior high or prior low, I actually highlighted it here. That being your target, and go and look at the options for it. You know, so we had a 50% gain on this morning. And, you know, if you look at Schwab, this is just another one. And that started over here. Now I had the gap up yesterday. Okay, I had that gap up yesterday, and then we get into today. Here's today. Right, so today Schwab didn't really do anything that you could bank on. You would have been expecting it to get up here, and you would have actually stopped out on this one. With options, you would have lost your money on that one. And let's see what else has moved. Looked at that one. We have bonds coming out this afternoon. We have a bond auction coming out this afternoon. But anything, I mean, look at Goldman Sachs. I don't know what that looks like today. but if we look back here now, this is on a 50 range. So every bar is 50 cents, right? So if you just go in here somewhere, and if you do it at the start of the day, it's just right here at like 9:30, right? So it's up right here from yesterday, right? And that was a gap down yesterday, a huge gap down yesterday. So it was filling that this morning. So in here, right here, this is at 9:30, right here, 9:30. Price is at 594. And all you know about this is that you have this huge gap here that is probably going to try to fill. All right, so I would have expected it to get to here at least from the 94, expected to get at least 50 cents up to 94.50. Now that's not really that much of movement for a price, for a stock price like this, but I would expect it to fill this gap. So I'd been looking for something up here in the 95s, the 595s. If you just go look at this, we'll go here to GS, Goldman Sachs, and loading the charts with the options, and in this one we would be looking for calls, and 595. This is probably what I would have been looking at. And let's just look at tomorrow's expiration. Now it's way down right now, but this morning at 9:30, here it was right here at 9:30, it was at 366, and it ran up to 444. Now you guys remember a couple of weeks ago in a partners meeting, I was saying you can get in there and make 25 to 50% on a regular basis. This is probably 25%, right? If you get in there at the open, when it looks like it was going to go up, if you got in there at the open where it was priced at 366 and went up to 444 is what I said, right? So let's do the math on that. 444 minus 366, is that right? That divided by 366 equals 21%. So I had a 21% gain today before it tanked and went in the opposite direction. I had a 21% gain. But any one of these stocks or anything like that, especially if it's got a big gap like that, usually it's going to try to fill that gap. So you could buy, stocks aren't as good as futures are as far as filling gaps. They do try to do that all the time.
Yeah, gaps on the futures almost always fill within the same session.
Yeah, they fill quick.
Or they ultimately fill.
Yeah, they fill
quick. Speaking of futures, any setups at all?
Let's go back there. This was my YM chart, I think, but let's go here. We do have something setting up here on the Russell. So let's get to the Russell. Here's my Russell DOM. We have a high on this bar right now of that. So I'll be selling 80 right here, 98. That is 20 ticks below the top of the bar. All right, and now it's going to be 8.2. Still 20 ticks below the top of the bar. The ES put in 1 tick lower swing right here. It's pulled back. It's got just 1 tick lower swing. You see how we have divergence here between these? It's got 1 tick lower swing. And the NQ, same thing, 1 tick lower swing. So the Russell's the only thing we have going on. And now that's pulled up to the same place. So we really don't have a lot happening, sadly. Let's go look at Bitcoin. So this is the daily. Today, it looks like it equaled yesterday's high today. It might have put in a new high by just a tiny bit. The high today is 85. That's this. Okay. The high today is 582.97, and yesterday it was 509. So it did put in a new high today. New all-time high, 76,582.97. Let's check this, make sure we're still at the right place. I believe we are. All right. Yes, so the high of this bar is now at 0.3, so this is 20 ticks away at 0.3. I don't think we went in for the trade here. We only have 6 minutes left, 5 minutes left. The markets are just crawling around right now, waiting for the Fed. That's good because it gives me some time to do some of the other things that I need to do.
Do you want to pass it off? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, yes we can. We're not going to have anything going on here.
Graham, I sent you a message there in the chat, so we can talk about it tonight.
Get over there.
No, I know it was just something he mentioned earlier. So you ready to pass it back out?
Yeah, I guess you can take it back out. I guess we're not gonna have any trades.
I'm in no rush.
Well, I do have a bunch of things that I have to do before we get to the Fed. So
okay,
if you can take it, that'd be great. Okay, I'll just cut a little bit short today. And
all right, recap of the morning session.
Today it took 2 minutes and 1 trade to get to $1,320.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, guys, we already made it through all the markets before Michael arrived. The Russell was the one we were wondering. See, it was the only one in the red of the 4 major indices. Let me check that page again real quick and see. We had 3 in the green, the Russell in the red, and it remains the same. Cash market indices, Dow's up 21 points, Nasdaq's up 250 points, S&P's up 38 points, but the Russell has gone further into the red by a few points. It's now down 5.5 points. Okay, so one last look at the daily. Now remember, we moved this 59.51. Now what's today's high? 6,002. Can I get it a little closer, or will I just blow it up? Okay, so now I'm 3 ticks above it. All right. Give it room to breathe. So we got a leg and a retracement, a leg, a retracement, a leg, a retracement, and a leg. Okay. Covered all the other markets. If you missed any of them as we covered them, about 30 minutes after I end this broadcast, you can go to youtube.com/CFRN and see the entire broadcast in its entirety. Now, we started on our good word for the day. We started a new topic. Oh, you'll be fine, Graham. Don't worry. You're in good hands. We'll take care of you. What are your values? That was the question I posed yesterday, and so we talked about it. I'll call that part 1. We'll talk about it again today, part 2. Ecclesiastes 2:11. As I looked at everything I had worked so hard to accomplish, it was all so meaningless. Here are 2 more scriptural values you should live by. Number 1, equality. For there is no respect of persons with God. Romans 2:11. In God's eyes, no person is more important than another. Not one. Some have received more access to the things the world offers, achieved more education, or been called to higher ranks of responsibility. But in God's eyes, no one is innately better than the other. The ground is level at the foot of the cross, and we all approach God as sinners in need of salvation. So no matter what your position is in life, God expects you to treat everyone with the same respect. Number 2, generosity. Jesus said, "Give, and it will be given to you. They will pour into your lap a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. For by your standard of measure, it will be measured to you in return." Luke 6:38. Now Jesus was quoting Malachi from the Old Testament when he said that. Others don't determine what you receive. Even God doesn't. You do. The amount you give will determine the amount you get back. You're never more like God than when you give, and you can never surpass Him at giving. The truth is, you have no reason to be anxious about not having enough if you offer generosity to others. Why is it important to have values that you live by? Solomon said, "As I looked at everything I worked so hard to accomplish, it was all so meaningless. Like chasing the wind. There was nothing really worthwhile." You may remember Solomon, the wisest man in the world, in history, as they say, ended his life BS crazy. Eating grass out in the field. His servants were perplexed because the great Solomon, when he realized that his whole life, the way he had done things, was for naught, he went crazy. So, while we learn much by Solomon's wisdom in Proverbs, we don't want to end up like Solomon. And that's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell. Oh, this is aggravating. Maybe a reboot would fix it. Alright, we're going to try it one more time. Because that has the all-important disclaimer that you should actually get your financial advice from somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.